gentlemen, and welcome back to VidaneTV Thursday night. You know what that means. It is NEP's night in North America, baby. Showtime. Paul Strickland Jr. down here in the production trailer, and I'm not calling this race alone. I'm not even calling this race because, as you can tell, I'm a lot of bit under the weather. So we called in a little bit of backup here tonight. Hey, Aaron Creed, joining me here on a Thursday night. Aaron, how are you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling all right so far. I'm just hoping that we have enough Lysol to go around here, and we're not sending anyone to the hospital, the infield care center here before we're done. But I think we're ready to go, and we got Ashton here with me too. And I think we're gonna get ready to run down the starting lineup for today's race, the third to last, or would it be the second to last, I guess you could say, for the season here at Old Atlanta, I guess we call it.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun here tonight. Tight points battle. We're tied between Steve Daddio and John Peters, both defending champions here in the NEP series. And Ashton Reekie, appreciate you jumping on board here tonight as we kind of sift through the starting lineup. Ashton, what are you looking forward to most here at the old bumpy Atlanta?
Yeah, that's just it, Paul. We're at an old track. It's got some character. It's got a lot of life in it. And a lot of these guys have a lot of knowledge of this racetrack because it's been around for so long. So going to be some tight quarter racing. These trucks get around here at a quick pace. And it's like always, it's going to be some tight racing and Robbins racing when it comes to an older racetrack like this.
And we are live and interactive all over the internet. We're live on YouTube, live on Facebook, live on Twitch as well. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe, a follow, a share, all that good stuff. Let your friends and family know you're watching a little bit of racing action here on a Thursday night. We hit on it real quick. There you can see the top 5 in points coming into tonight. John Peters, Steve Daddio tied atop the board. Kenny Kibbe 7 points back. Brent Roy and Evan Bollier still mathematically eligible for this championship with 2 races to go after tonight at Atlanta. But it's going to be a tall order for them to get back up on top. And don't forget, you can also follow along at home with wherever your favorite driver is running with the Wingnut Productions timing and scoring. Scan that QR code there on the right-hand side of your screen, or you can go to vidane.tv/scoring and pop that right on up. But without further ado, I'm going to pass it on to you guys. I'm going to Lysol off these microphones. I'm sure everybody's done listening to my sick behind. I'm going to pass it off to you guys, and we're going to get racing here for 65 laps in Atlanta here with the NEP SuperTrucks Series.
Going to be pretty exciting here. We're getting ready to go, and we're ready to rock here at Atlanta. It looks like we're taking one more pace lap. So oh no, we're going green right now. Here we go. They're going up to speed as we ride with some of the drivers mid pack, and they're all kind of spreading out here through the corners. Now into turn 1, Kenny Kibbe started on the pole, and he's still, like you said, in the hunt for that championship. He is not far behind these top 2, and he's had some good runs here lately. But right now, it's him and John Peters head-to-head there. Peters getting the advantage there on the outside.
The outside line is going to be one of those lines that you got to keep an eye on at this track. A lot of drafting, a lot of moving around early on in this race. Got a quick look at the big maple leaf on the front of Brent Roy's truck there. He had a great qualifying lap. He started off in the 6th position. He's already moved his way up into the 5th position, so he's already looking towards the front. You see him down on the bottom side in the draft, but as I said, the high side will start coming around, and it's going to be something that's going to be a threat all night long.
Yeah, and another one of the kind of keys to victory is pretty much getting everything you can early in these runs, because we talked about it being an abrasive, bumpy kind of a track. It's going to eat up those tires, so you better get what you can in, but also keeping the car under you for the end of these long runs. They're given 2 extra sets of tires, so we could see a couple pit stops here across the duration of the 65 lap race. They can go about 37 laps on fuel, so there might be some that might try to stretch it one pit stop, but at the same time, if your tires are shot, some of these guys that might pit twice and have good track position might get around you here quickly. Running the fastest lap that time was Keith Lord. Weren't sure if he was going to make it out here tonight, but here he is, coming off. I think he was in victory lane there over the weekend at Circuit of the Americas. So congrats to Keith, and with his spotting gigs that he gets on the road courses, we'll probably see him at Hickory in a week here helping out with Spencer Davis. But Keith Lord is actually one of 6 drivers. I was looking at RSL's stats. He's one of 6 drivers that have completed 100% of the 194 laps ran at Atlanta in seasons 3, 4, and 5 of NEP. So it's him, Evan Boyer, Stephen Daddio, Kenny Kibbe, Corey Casagrande, and Ryan Salvatore himself. So we'll be looking out for some of those guys to be there near the end as we continue on, as we're still only 4 laps into this race. There we see John Peters trying to get a run on Kenny Kibbe in the number 4. Stephen Daddio running 3rd, and the cream has already rose to the top. I mean, they started that way, 1, 2, 3. Not in the same positions as they are in points. Peters and Daddio tied up top, so it could come to a matter of whoever finishes ahead of the other ends up in the point lead. But there are things like laps led points up for grabs and things like that when it comes to bonus points. So we could leave here with the points being tied still. And if Kenny Kibbe finishes in front of Daddio and Peters, then it could get even tighter here going into the last 2 weeks of the season. Jeffrey Bradway having a good run there in 4th, and Ashton, you already talked about Brent Roy there in 5th, having a good run in the Maple Leaf truck at the moment, and with Daytona winner Evan Boyer behind him.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see they've already got themselves kind of into a line there. You see the odd guy tuck his way up to the top or to the bottom there, but they're in a line. They're using that draft and saving the fuel that they can for now. But you made a point early on that the tires are going to go away quickly, and as much as it seems like it's a super speedway style of track, the corners are very abrasive. So if those tires do start going away and that right rear starts kind of falling off, you're going to see the guys getting a little loose on the entry of the corners, and that's when you're going to start struggling with things. You see one truck right up to the high side, what I call the Kyle Larson line, right up against the wall, and you're going to see the momentum he's going to get down the backstretch using that line there. So it might be something that he's trying out early on in this race. It's looking like it's fast, and he's got a couple of guys that are going to join him up there.
Yeah, definitely. Some drivers trying different lines to see what works, what might not work. There you see Zane Farrell in the 14 doing his thing, trying to turn his season around a little bit. I know he's had some struggles as of late, and he'd like to finish the season off strong. He also has Regan Parent, who is one of those drivers that we sometimes see run the outside line at these tracks. Maybe sometimes gets a little bit too far to the outside, but right now he's digging to the inside in the 17 truck as we ride with Zane Farrell. He was battling with Parent there for a moment, and behind him, welcome back Jason Ricker. We missed him last week, but he's back out there this week. I'm not sure if we'll see him next week, because I know he's got his duties with the Pro All-Star Series, doing things that they'll be traveling down to Hickory next week for their St. Patrick's Day and Easter Bunny kind of races, Friday and Saturday evenings. But excited to see some of those guys from the north come down, participating in that as well. And but hopefully they'll be able to get some NEP racing Thursday, get down to business at Hickory.
Yeah, for sure. And you saw that one of the lines that I saw run earlier there, as we got one full of smoke on the front stretch. He looks like he's gotten to the outside wall. Bunch of damage to the number 21 of Eric Kern. He's down into the grass, out of the racing surface. He's going to lock it up and try and get that caution. We are still green. We are still running to get that tow and get himself on pit road. So a rough night for the 21 of Kern. He'll get it down on pit road, probably have to bring that one to the trailer. But what I was going to say earlier was one of the lines that I saw was getting all the way down to the white line, but coming off of the corner, and we know this in many, many other tracks also, that outside wall comes at you really quick. And if there's a truck on that outside of you, you're really going to have to pinch that car down, or the truck down, sorry about that, and you're going to lose all that momentum. So it's most definitely something that you're leaning on your spotter a lot when you're in a pack, especially the way it's looking now, is we see Brent Roy in a battle back there, like I was just talking about. As he came off of 4, he had to get that extra turn down, and he lost that little bit of momentum. So that outside line is starting to roll a little quicker.
Yeah, definitely right now it is. Of course, like we've talked about, when you're using that outside line, using up those tires, as Brent Roy gets real loose off that corner. As he, luckily he's got that shiny, kind of construction-looking back of Jeffrey Bradway's truck in front of him, so he can kind of keep tabs on where he is in relation to the trucks around him. So he's able to continue without losing any positions or any really any track time there or any margin from fourth place Jeffrey Bradway. Right now in the top 6, we have all of the past winners of the Atlanta races are in the top 6. So Kenny Kibbe currently up top, and Stephen Daddio, and then Evan Boyer. Kibbe, the most recent winner at Atlanta. So Kibbe's really come on strong late in the going here in recent weeks, and that's kind of the time to hit your stride for sure. As he, like we've talked about, he's going to have to really just chip away at that point lead, because he's got the point leaders right behind him. So, but right now, continuing to lead out front, you're getting some bonus points there for leading laps and everything. He's doing what he can right now. As we continue to ride with this battle for fourth, Brent Roy is able to get that spot now. Definitely one of those drivers to watch. We talked about some of these drivers. The wild card, I don't know if I'd call him a wild card, considering he's a past winner this season and also here at Atlanta. But Evan Boyer has a 10.3 average start at Atlanta and a 3.3 average finish. So we've seen him come from further back before, as there you see him moving past Jeffrey Bradway there for 5th, as Bradway kind of got a little bit into the wall there, it looked like. And he's going to move into the top 5 for the first time tonight.
Yeah, Bradway did get up into the top of the wall, into the top wall there for just a little bit off that off the corner there. But I was noticing after we saw Brent Roy kind of slide up the track and fight the wheel there, Bradway kind of got into the same situation, and he was on the high side. So I was kind of shocked by that. But it just goes to show, only 18 laps in, we're already seeing the back end of these trucks start to slide around. The fuel's coming out of these trucks, so the back end's getting a little lighter. Tires are falling off, so 18 laps, and they're already starting to have a handful of some of these trucks, so it's something to keep an eye on. I don't think I would want this to be a one-stop kind of race. If it came down to only one stop, you're certainly going to have a handful of a truck to end any one of these runs.
Yeah, for sure. And there you see some of these drivers taking advantage of doing what they can. And so here you see Stephen Daddio took a peek there, trying to get second from John Peters. Like we said, they're tied for the point lead right now. And right now, it's the closest point battle in NEP history between these 3 past champions. Kibbe's only 7 back from these 2. And all 3 of them have some exceptional results here at Atlanta. John Peters only has 1 past Atlanta start, but it was second in season 3. Daddio has a 5th, a 1st, and a 2nd in 3 races here. He had a DNF or 23rd place finish one of the years, but then a 2nd and a 1st, and he has 2 poles here. Make it 3, I guess, because he started from the pole tonight. So, yeah, there's these guys are going to be battling it right to the end, I have a feeling.
And just to chime in from the trailer, we mentioned time and time again, the cream always rising to the top here in the NEP series. Front 3 in points, they are front 3 on track right now. Kenny Kibbe doing everything he can to try and make up as many points as he can, lead all the laps, get that extra bonus point. But oh, by the way, 4th and 5th in points, 4th and 5th on track right now, Brent Roy and Evan Boyer. This is going to be a tight points battle all the way down to the final race this season for sure.
Yeah, it very well could be, and it's going to be exciting right until that checkered flag at Dover. When
pit stop for Brent Roy, pit stop.
Oh, there we go, yeah. That early pit stop for Brent Roy. We've seen him do this before, though, but he is lonely out there running down pit road himself. So right now, Brent Roy coming down. I have a feeling we're going to see these guys make 4 tire stops. I'm willing to bet as we continue with Brent Roy on pit road, the pit crew going to work feverishly on this number 26 truck. And there you see they're jacking up the left side now 4-tire stop for Brent Roy, and I have a feeling we're going to continue to see some more come down pit road here shortly, as we're already looks like 22 laps into this thing. So we're really ticking off these laps quickly here tonight at Atlanta as we continue on. And like I said, if you're newbie to racing, yeah, this isn't your current Atlanta for sure. Where they kind of restrictor plate race pretty much now, and it gets a little bit similar to what like a Talladega and Daytona are, in some respect, especially with the fresh pavement that they have on that speedway. This is the old Atlanta. Well, maybe not the old Atlanta, where it had a different configuration from the Tri-Oval, but the current one, or the most recent Atlanta before the current one. But Kenny Kibbe and Steven Daddio continuing to show the way. We'll have to see when they decide to come down pit road. John Peters has backed off a little bit in the 09, maybe losing the handle on that truck a little bit. So that'll be interesting to see. Steven Daddio trying to get to the lead. And we see Reggie Parent with an issue in the number 17. Not sure what's going on there with that truck.
He was up into the wall out of 4 there, and I don't know whether he was trying to line up a pit, but he seemed to be slow into the corner, and then truck just went straight up into the wall. So whether he locked it up and it just got loose on him, or whether it was just a miscommunication on the pit stop. But yeah, he got up into the wall, and he's now slow on the backstretch. He's going to be able to make it back around to pit road, but that is a costly mistake. Only 40 laps to go on a track that is quite quick, so you usually almost go down a lap already when you go under green, and he has to essentially take a slow lap around to get onto pit road.
Yeah, tough break. That's going to cost Reggie Parent there. One of our past year's top championship contenders. But interested to see what this strategy is right here. Kenny Kibbe, I'm sure he probably has it in his mind that he doesn't want Steven Daddio leading a lap here. If any of those kinds of bonus points kind of come in here, trying to keep him behind him. Daddio's putting on the pressure. If Kibbe pits, then that could also be an opportunity for Daddio or Peters to lead a lap. So that's one of those things that they're all keeping in mind here. Track position is key. We talked about that already, but in more than one way, it is, as Evan Boyer right there in the mix as well.
Yeah, and I was trying to see the lap times to see if he kind of backed his pace up to be back with them so that he could use some of their draft to potentially save a little bit of fuel. Maybe he's trying to strategize to pit with them, but it more or less looks like those two got into a draft and into a slipstream and were able to catch him. So Beaulieu and Daddio and Peters and Rick are kind of making an appearance here late in this run, and I'm kind of surprised to see that the 4 and this front pack in general have not come down pit road, unless it's a strategy thing. But you're starting to see Brent Roy has made his way back into the battle. It's not for position, but he's essentially unlapping himself with those fresh tires. So that right there just goes to show the difference in speed. He's running approximately a 31.9 between a 31.8, where your leaders are running a 33.4.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what this looks like when it cycles around. If Brent Roy is able to kind of get some track position by making the early pit stop. Now, of course, that could backfire on him later in the race when some of these drivers have a few laps fresher tires on him. But it's definitely an interesting strategy. Brent Roy almost out of the championship picture now, so kind of has nothing to lose. So he's probably just going out there trying some different things and going out there for the win, doing whatever he can to make that happen. As we still ride with the current leader, Kenny Kibbe. I believe he's been our own leader, trying to back to earlier in the race. But yeah, as far as I know, Kenny Kibbe has been our only leader from the get-go. We got 25 trucks still on the track, 19 with Brent Roy unlapping himself on the lead lap. 2 drivers have called it a night, Cody LeBlanc and Eric Kern, who we saw earlier, who still, I think, in the midst of a Rookie of the Year battle with Garrett Benson, who's not here tonight. With Benson missing the next couple races, we might see that kind of close up as well. So we'll have to see how that shakes out. Here's one of last year's top rookies, Colby Burkholder. But now we're going to move over here. Kenny Kibbe coming down pit road. John Peters doing the same. I believe, did Steven Daddio stay out on the racetrack in the number 9? He did, and he's going to lead a lap now that the others came down pit road. So I guess Kibbe kind of gave it for all it's got in that number 4 and decided to come down finally.
Yeah, he eventually had to give it up. They were catching him anyway, so I think that was the right move on Kibbe's part. I understand what he was trying to do and not allow that lap to be led, but it is what it is. That's what had to happen, and just like that, Steven Daddio is going to come down pit road, so he got that extra bonus point, pull it down pit road, and then try and make his way back up to the front. Looking at the live scoring at the Wingnut Productions VidaneTV/scoring, it's looking like Brent Roy is the first one that pit early, and he's the first one a lap down. He's still 1 lap down, so he did go 2 laps down, but with the cycle running through, if everything goes as planned, it looks like Brent Roy would inherit the lead. Now, in saying that, everything has to fall into place, and he was doing everything he possibly could to get himself back in contention, but we're going to have to see how these guys come off of pit road and how everything plays out once all the pit stops are done. Pretty much everybody other than the top 10 has pit, so it looks like 2 more guys down on pit road. It looks like there's only going to be 5 left that have not pit. Brent Roy's going to have some work to do to get back up to the front.
Yeah, and it looked like with that extra lap that Daddio stayed out, that it actually cost him some track position. I don't know if there was an issue in the pits as well, but he's fallen back a little bit from what I can see. Corey Casagrande, Mike Hopkins, both battling their way currently in the top 10. Actually, no, Hopkins is your leader right now. He has not come down pit road. So Hopkins taking his turn up top at the moment. Joey Dwyron currently being scored in second. John Miller third. Ryan Messer and Scott McDonald currently rounding out the top 5, but both of them are on pit road. Good to see Messer back. I think he was absent last week as well. So Ryan Messer, the other fellow Canadian that's in the field here with Brent Roy, going to try to make a late race run, I'm sure. Probably have not seen the end of him. But Brent Roy kind of showing the way right now. But we'll have to see once again if his early pit stop means that it kind of draws the other trucks that are on fresher tires back to him when this all cycles around.
The other concern I have, Aaron, is that he's out there all on his own. He has no help around him. And at a track like this, as much as drafting isn't normally what we talk about on the short tracks, this is a track where a draft partner can be a little bit of a help. So him being out there all alone, if anybody else strategized to pit with a teammate or with a friendly partner at the time being, they might be able to track him down a little bit quicker than him being out there all alone. You see a pack of 3 trucks just going by the line there. It's going to be one of those things that he's going to have to hope the truck right behind him maybe get to his back bumper quick enough, or maybe if he checks up and he's able to get a little bit of help, is Steve Daddio decides he's going to set quick time at a 31.4. So that just goes to show that those times are back up to speed. The last lap that Brent Roy ran was a 32.6, so a lot difference in times. We saw it earlier the other way around. Now it's coming back to get Brent Roy, so hopefully he can keep that pace and maybe get a little bit of help up front.
Yeah, and like you said, air and downforce are pretty important. And as there you see the difference in tires right there. Brian Shipp trying to unlap himself in the 48, and Brent Roy is probably just going to let him on by here momentarily. So right now it's Brent Roy's just probably trying to conserve a little bit, trying to get into that conserve mode, maybe even get back onto the same pit cycle as these other competitors, but then he has the track position if he can stay out front, or towards the front, I guess you can say, since actually now he is officially back out front. Brent Roy in the lead. Keith Lord is up to second, Zane Farrell third. Those two, I think, pitted a lap or two right after Brent Roy. So it's showing right now that making a pit stop early on is advantageous, but it still remains to be seen, as we still have about 27 laps to go. probably going to see, we're definitely going to see another cycle of pit stops before this is over. But one thing that it could set them up for is if there's a late race yellow, they have the track position then as well. So remains to be seen how this is all going to shake out. We saw now we see Brent Roy putting a lap on Adam Henry in the 62. He is our sponsor for the sponsor driver for the race, the Rapid Custom Car Wrap 65. As there you see Adam Henry, 14.5 average starting position here at Atlanta, finished 23rd and 14 last 2 seasons here. A 16.2 average finish this season, but he's gained 81 positions from his starting positions this year. So Adam Henry actually has been doing a very good job, maybe not in qualifying, but making his way towards the front or towards the front half of the field. Today he's struggling a little bit, falling a lap down, but you never know. The yellow flies. He might get his lap back.
Yeah, and I'm quite shocked that Brent decided to go up and around him, as he was one of the cars that most, pitted more recent than Brent did, and I thought maybe he'd just pick up the draft and try and get them in a drafting situation and get them further away, but he kind of just went up and around him and then got a bit of help as they're still battling, and that's not what you want if you're Brent Roy, because not far behind them is Kenny Kibbe, John Peters, and Keith Lord. They're coming, and they're coming quickly. So Brent Roy, I'm sure, has his spotter telling him that, but he's got to look out. Kenny Kibbe, he's on a mission, and we saw early on the dominance of that number 4 truck, and Peters was right on him, and so was Keith Lord and Evan Bollier as they were coming down pit road. So that's a pack that we got to keep an eye on. John Peters has run a great race up to now. It's just so hard to keep up to Kenny Kibbe, who's on a tear.
Yeah, for sure. And there you see, as you've seen, Kenny Kibbe and John Peters both have been able to get by Keith Lord and Zane Farrell. As now we see some drivers making their second round of pit stops. It looks like that's Keith Lord and Zane Farrell. They're keeping with the early strategy that they had earlier on to make a pit stop, and I don't know if that's going to work before the end of this race, as you saw that they were starting to fall back, and we'll see how that all shakes out, as we've got a lead change right in front of our eyes. Kenny Kibbe, John Peters, and is that Reagan Parent in the 17? He has been on a tear here, the 17. As a matter of fact, Reagan Parent is actually a lap down. Actually, he's 13 laps down being scored. So he's just trying to make some laps in case some other cars break or there's an accident, trying to ride it out here. And I think that's Kenny Kibbe might have gotten the message to let him by, but Kibbe's going to try to keep Peters behind him.
Yeah, and you saw that Kibbe right away jumping into the draft of that 17, going, "You're a lot quicker than I am, but I'm going to try and steal some of that draft and get away from Peters." Again, the big picture is the points championship. It's coming towards the end, and as many points as he can pick up, he needs every one of them to keep his hopes alive for the championship. And I'm just shocked on how quick they went by Brent Roy. It was impressive on how quick they went by. I didn't think that many laps on the tires would make that big of a difference, but at the same time, those early pit stops, we saw a couple guys come down pit road not long ago. If they end up coming back to the top of the cycle, as long as there's not many laps left, so if they can stay out front for 19 laps, once they get to the front, it's going to be a lot less than that, and hold off Kenny Kibbe, then it's going to be the right strategy, but that's not going to be easy to do, as we saw Kibbe walk by Brent Roy and John Peters and Evan Bollier like they were standing still. So he's certainly the truck to beat tonight, and he's back out front there, and John Peters right in his tire tracks.
The big question now is, if you're Brent Roy, how long can you stay out? How long do you stay out? Right now, he seems to be riding comfortably in that 4th spot, and actually the earlier strategy seems to have worked out for him for the most part for the time being. But the truck is still going to continue falling off, as Stephen Daddio has passed. So we'll have to see how that continues to pan out. as we continue to tick off these laps. We're pretty much we're going to be within the closing stage already pretty soon. Kenny Kibbe kind of just working the draft with Regan Parent. No need to really make a pass on. He is several laps down. 17 is. So Kibbe kind of just riding that might up the pressure.
There's no need for him to put any pressure on the 17 in front of him there. He does know that he's got Bollier, Peters, Daddio. That whole pack is behind him. He knows that. He knows they're there. He's just got to keep that pace and keep the distance maintained between all of them, so that they don't catch up to him. Because as you said, you mentioned it earlier, he's doing everything he can. Championship point racing. He's out front. He's leading laps. He's getting as many points as he possibly can. A couple more trucks down pit road. It looks like Corey Casagrande on pit road for his second stop. So he's doing all he can, and the ball just has to fall into his court at this point. He's done a great job maintaining the distance from Peters also. You see he kind of drops back a little bit, and then he picks up that draft from the 17 in front of him and then pulls away again a little bit. So he's certainly maintaining that distance and keeping an eye on back. And I want to say that he's maybe saving a little bit. Maybe he's not thinking about another pit stop. 15 laps to go would not give him much time to get back up to the front through the cycle. So he might be trying to play this off on a one stop.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the big question kind of is, like, when do you pit? Because we saw it the first round there, where because the drivers that pitted early were the ones that had the track position. So if this stays green, will there be enough time? Like you said, like if Kibbe and Peters and them wait until under 10 laps to go to make their green flag pit stop, if someone like, well, we was going to say Brent Roy, but he's staying out right now, but Keith Lord and I think Zane Farrell both did come down pit road. I might want to watch to see what's going to happen with them, because they ended up in front of Kibbe, Daddio, Peters, and the rest of them when the pit stops kind of cycled around. So could they be in the catbird seat? I'm not sure right now. That remains to be seen. Everyone's staying out on track for the time being. Daddio working that wheel. I don't know if he's going to try to get under. Yeah, he's going to try to get Bollier position now.
Yeah, those both those drivers that pit for their second, so Keith Lord and Zane Farrell, are only one of them. Keith Lord is a lap down, Zane Farrell is a lap down. Keith Lord on the lead lap, or if not very close to being on the lead lap. So they would have to unlap themselves. I'm going to say that they are hoping for a caution or maybe a late caution, and everybody pits. They'll get the wave around. Still wouldn't put them in the catbird seat. So it's going to be a game of cat and mouse at this point. I would say that Brent Roy is probably hoping for the same thing, as he is still out on track. But nonetheless, Kenny Kibbe has put on a clinic when it comes to this Atlanta, old Atlanta as we call it. And he's done everything he possibly could to be up front. As we take a look quickly at the 26 machine of Brent Roy, he's still out on track. He's really having to drop that speed in the center of the corner. And there we go. He's sideways. He's going to hold on to it. What a save. And he's able to put it back on pit road. So I think that was he was probably going to be out of fuel any lap now. So he was holding out to try and keep that, keep his hopes alive, but he's going to have to come down pit road. At this point now is when he would really like to see a yellow flag.
And I think he had it slowed down just enough to not be, exceeding the speed limit on pit road. So that's good news. Looks like he's probably going to take 4 tires here. And I am really interested to see where this puts him in the running order when this all kind of resets. As we are inside 10 laps to go now, Kenny Kibbe remains up front as he follows the lap car of Regan Parent. John Peters has backed off a little bit in the 09, running in that position. Then it's good old Steven Daddio in third and Evan Bollier in fourth. These are the drivers that we've seen up front pretty much this entire race. So we're going to see if they all try to stretch it here or if they're going to come down pit road very late in the going here. I think I think they should be okay on fuel. That's the other big question. The max is about 37 green flag laps. They pitted just before halfway. So,
They are currently on a 25 lap stint with 10 or 8 to go now. So they're 26. They are going to be about a lap and a half to 2 laps to the good, if the math is correct.
yeah, if the math is correct, that's always the important thing is, the pit window is 32 to 37 laps. So we always say it's approximate. But with Kenny Kibbe kind of tucking behind that number 17 Regan Parent, though, that actually probably is helping the fuel mileage on the number 4 compared to some of these others that have just, clear track ahead of them. So that's another interesting factor as we see battling going on here. I was going to say mid-pack, but it's actually within the top 10 here. Jeffrey Bradway, Ryan Messer marching towards the front. We don't forget about him, and he is making his way towards the front. Brent Roy, here he comes again after his pit stop, but he is a lap down. So that's one thing. Once again, we're going to have Brent Roy. Right now, I was going to say he might not want a yellow flag, but he is currently being scored the truck a lap down. So he would get his lap back if we were to have a late race yellow. But right now we're continuing under green. We have no single yellow flag in this race. It's Austin Belke and Jason Rick are having a battle side by side.
Yeah, and you saw how much quicker Brent Roy was, and you saw the hand movement on the Ryan Messer number 1 truck right in front of these two that are battling side by side. There was a lot of hand work coming from that one truck early on as Brent Roy was right behind him, and I don't know if it was an air issue, an aero issue, or what the deal was, but all of these trucks, other than the 26, are on a late run. So the tires are not always going to be the best underneath of these guys. He's done a great job. Ryan Messer has all the way back up into 5th. He always one that we'd have to watch, and he kind of just quietly made his way up there as Kenny Kibbe still leading, and like you said, tucked in behind that 17, helping his fuel mileage. And I wonder if the 09 of Peters kind of backed off of him to save fuel, thinking that they might have been a little too close for comfort, and maybe thinking that Kenny Kibbe might run out and he can just kind of cruise on by if that's the case. But they're coming to 3 to go, and Kibbe doesn't seem to be letting up at 170 miles per hour down the front stretch.
Yeah, I often have to wonder what's going through some of these guys' heads because, Peters could be backing off because he's got a comfortable advantage, semi-comfortable over 3rd place, which is his fellow championship contender, Steven Daddio. So he's ahead of his championship compatriot right there. Although I think Daddio, we could see this end up being tied at the end of the night once again. That will remains to be seen. But at the same time, Kenny Kibbe, he's pretty much led almost every lap, and he's out front, won the pole and everything. So that's bonus points coming into his play, most likely. Oh my, I don't know. Kenny, you could see these points being even closer at the end of tonight with only 2 more races left to go. Once we're done here, as we only have 2 laps remaining, Kenny Kibbe showing the way continually as looks like he's going to come around here to take the white flag.
He absolutely is. White flag, white rag is out. We are on the last lap. Kenny Kibbe has put on a clinic from start to finish, got the pole, set the fast lap, turning into 1 and 2, coming out of 2. He is looking down the backstretch for the last time tonight in that number 4 truck, following in the path of the 17, who helped him get to the fuel mileage, we're going to say, as John Peters did everything he possibly could. The 4 truck of Kenny Kibbe's coming out of 4. Aaron, take it away.
Kenny Kibbe has pretty much dominated this show. We're going to wave the checkered flag right now. Kenny Kibbe takes the win at Atlanta. John Peters crosses the line in 2nd, and Steven Daddio in 3rd. And we're going to talk to each of those racers after they kind of get a cool down lap in here and hear what they all have to say. And once again, it's going to be even tighter than it was coming into this race going into next week.
Absolutely, but what a great race. Caution-free, start to finish. These guys had a lot of side-by-side racing. The pit strategy always adding to the factor. The the top 10 are on your screen right now. Kenny Kibbe, John Peters, Steve Daddio, Evan Bollier, Ryan Messer, Austin Belkey, Jeffrey Bradway, Jason Ricker, Joe Dworon, and Dan Winters. What a great race by all of these guys.
Yeah, indeed. That was a great rundown. And I think I'm down, but while he's doing a celebration, I'm running, towards him. But here with Kenny Kibbe, man, dominating performance there from the get-go. And take us through that this evening here at Atlanta.
Yeah, that was awesome. Atlanta, the old version of Atlanta is one of my favorite tracks. But I knew, track position was going to be key, and I had a feeling we could maybe run a lot of green flag laps today. And long runs are my best friend usually. And props to all the guys running completely green from flag to flag. So that's pretty awesome. But yeah, I just you know, got the good qualifying lap. Everybody was so tight in the top 6 or so spots for qualifying. Could have gone to anybody for first place, but wanted to try to save my stuff, but also try to maintain track position. Clean air was kind of a factor as well. And just try to be smooth, man. Just try to repeat the same thing over and over again. But then as the run went on, we did kind of have to change our lineup a bit. And change it depending on traffic and things like that. But yeah, things just worked out, and that pit stop cycle went pretty much perfectly. I was wondering if the 56 truck was going to overlap or undercut all of us, and he just barely missed it. He got caught behind the 09 and myself, so that kind of took him out of the fray for the time being. And our teammate Steve, he pit it a little bit later, and that kind of bit him. And yeah, we just had to be methodical coming back through the field and just stay smooth, and we did that.
And take us through those closing laps too. What I thought was interesting is the 17 of Reggie Parent. He was several laps down there, and you let him by, but then you kind of just followed in his tracks. It seemed like, was that part of the strategy that you were kind of saving a little bit, but also kind of being aggressive, just knowing who was behind you as your fellow championship contenders?
No, I mean, I was racing against the racetrack for the most part, and just trying to be, running consistent times. And yeah, Reggie caught us, and really quickly it seemed like, and then passed us, and then just kind of sat there. So I didn't really know what was going on. It was actually pretty frustrating because I just wanted him to go, just leave us be. He kind of just sat there. But he was just fast enough to where, like, I didn't feel obligated to like try to pass him. But yeah, I kind of just wanted to sit there and just, race the racetrack if I could.
Yeah, and we just got an update from RSAL with the calculations with the points. Unofficially, maybe officially, I don't know. But right now it's John Peters ahead by 1 over both Stephen Daddio and you. So I know you enjoy racing with guys. We'll give you a chance here in a second to thank those that get you to and from the track. But first of all, tell us about that. How exciting this is going to be these next 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's quite a battle. And I think all 3 of us are very worthy champions. Of course, we've all won the championship before, so we know what it means and know what it takes to win it. But you guys got to remember, like 4 races ago, I was over 20 points back. So I was like, I kind of still am in a way the long shot, but the momentum has just shifted for whatever reason. We've just been totally on it these last 3-4 weeks. And I like Kansas and I like Dover. I like Atlanta more, but the next 2 races should be still pretty good for us. So I'm excited to battle it out.
All right, real quickly, give you a chance to thank those that get you from the track.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank everybody at NEP for coming together every week. Again, congrats to everybody for having a nice, clean race out there. And you guys up in the VidaneTV booth for the broadcast every week. My teammates at 4 Wide Weaponry, as always, best team in the business. And also everybody likes to ride on board with me and watch these races every week.
All right, that's your winner tonight, Kenny Kibbe. And Ashton, I believe you caught up with the second place finisher, John Peters.
Yeah, I'm here with John Peters. A great race by everybody, and you were there. You just needed a little bit more to catch him. And was it going to be a fuel strategy? Was it going to be a pit strategy? What more did you need to get to Kenny Kibbe on a night like tonight?
Probably one of those. I for some reason I struggled a little in the long run. I don't really know why. I don't know if I used a little bit more tire and dirty air. Maybe that was it. But I felt like I could conserve well early in the runs, and Kenny was just able to get to the 20 lap mark ish and gap it a little. So it would have taken strategy, but really fun race nonetheless. This is a great racetrack. Really forces you to focus up and try not to make mistakes and stay in your groove. And you could see guys moving in different lanes. So that was also a challenging part of it. Is at some point in the run you'd have to move to the outside and pick up some grip, but when exactly does that happen? Do you use more tires up there? So a lot to think about, but Kenny did a good job doing all the things he needed to do and just came up a little bit short, but that's okay. We got a couple more races to sort it out.
Absolutely, and we got the quick update there from the scorers that you're up only by 1 point going into the last 2 weeks. Is there anything that you need to change, or is it simply just get your focus and race the racetrack?
Yeah, probably more so that. Just show up like I normally do every week and try to go win, see what happens. I've done a better job this year not making bad nights worse. There've been a couple stupid things that have happened, and I've just tried to not make it a total disaster and had to miss a couple. So it's just fun to be in the mix. And I think this has got to be the first time ever that we've had a points battle this close towards the end of the season. So hopefully that's good for the fans out there watching.
It absolutely is. Certainly adds the excitement, and the truck looks good. The driver did great tonight. Who helps you get you here to the track and in the real world and in the virtual world?
Well, thanks to you guys for doing the broadcast. We appreciate that as always. Thanks to NEP and Corey Zane and the sponsor for tonight. Appreciate that. Thanks to everybody for watching. My mom, thanks to my wife and my dogs for letting me jump on here. 229 had a great week of practice, worked really well together, and looking forward to the rest of the season here.
Awesome. Congratulations again, and hopefully you can close out the season with a couple more podiums.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
And I believe Paul has made his way out of the truck and found his way to the third place driver.
Indeed, I have down here with Steve Daddio. Came into tonight as the points leader. Well, tied as the points leader and leaving tonight one behind John Peters, tied with Kenny Kibbe. And I'm going to have to look back at my own record books. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the tightest championship battle we've ever had here on VidaneTV. Steve, what's going through your mind right now, brother?
First of all, nobody out there should feel bad for this team and the way the way we've run this year. But personally, I'll say, we were fast tonight, and we've been fast all season, and it's a little frustrating to not finish it off. I don't know if there was any touch in Kibbe today. I felt like in that first run, I had something for him, but I blew it on the pit stop there. I just was a little too conservative because I was a little too aggressive last week, and I blew through it and ruined the race that way. So I ruined the shot at the win, I should say. I don't know. I mean, this is fun. I mean, Kenny and John, all the guys here at NEP, it's crazy to see how tight the points battle is. I'm excited to get back next week and see what Kansas and then Dover has for us. It should be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Putting on a clinic here tonight, and crazy to think another podium, and you can hear the disappointment in your voice. 99 trucks quick. It's been quick all season long from the word go. What do you think? Is there anything else you can pull out of the hat trick to try and get in front of Kibbe and Peters?
I got to limit mistakes. Like I said, that second run, I was watching the ticker and I was catching, and I picked Evan off a little late there, but I just didn't have time to get to either of them. And so I guess that's the theme moving forward here, is to just be mistake free, be smooth, be fast, and I picked up the qualifying. For whatever reason, we had the yips there and qualifying in the teens, uncharacteristic for this team. So I guess that's really it, is to just execute, and we'll go get those results.
2 races to go here in the championship, and you are definitely one of the contenders. Who gets you to and from the virtual and the real racing track?
I thank friends and family out there, my parents out there watching. Thanks, Mom and Dad. My sponsors, Daddy's Auto Parts, YRD, Reverie Brewing, you guys up in the booth, thanks for calling the race. Like I said, I always watch it afterwards. The NEP guys, thank you, Corey. Thank you, Zane. Thank you, Brandon. This doesn't happen without their support. And then finally, my 4 wide teammates almost had 4 top 10s there. Arcel, I heard, made a dive late there to pick up a couple spots. I thought he did it, but we'll get it one of these days. A lot of fun on Thursday nights. Look forward to it every week.
Putting on a show, putting on a clinic. It's going to be fun to watch these 3 drivers go for the championship here in the final couple of races. But that's going to do it here for us at Atlanta here this evening. Got to thank everybody for tuning in here tonight. We're all over the internet, as it were. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitter, we're on Twitch. And we appreciate all the likes, the subscribes, the share, the feedback. Anything you got, we're willing to listen to. Back at it next Thursday night here at Kansas Motor Speedway. You heard it, Kansas, then Dover, then Werdunski. We're going to be crowning ourselves a Season 6 champion here in the NEP SuperTrucks Series. But for myself, Showtime, Paul Strickland Jr., for A.A. Ron, Aaron Creed, and the wingnut himself, Ashton Reekie, we'll catch you on the flip side. And when we do,
We'll be doing it live.